Hello guys, Troy Francis here with another video. So recently I've been reading the book Why Women Have Sex by Sydney Measton and David Buss, and it is a fantastic read. There are apparently 237 reasons why women will have sex with a guy, which is kind of strange because normally they come up with 237 reasons why they won't have sex with me. But anyway, it's really, really interesting. And it goes through all of these different facets of masculinity, facets of male physique and whatever that women find attractive. Now, this is a book, obviously, it's been around for quite a long time. It gets referenced a lot in the space. I'm a little bit late to the party, but I'm really enjoying it so far. And there's some interesting insights in it. So I would recommend that you have a look. Anyway, with that being said, it reminded me, because I'm listening to the audiobook version, it reminded me yesterday that one of the old chestnuts that you get in the whole male dating realm when people are talking about this stuff is basically how much muscle mass does a dude need to have in order to be successful with women, or at least considered hot or considered a Chad. And there are opposing schools of thought on this. Okay. Now, I would say that the predominant school of thought is, yeah, bro, you need to get jacked. You need to get massive. Okay. You need to get on the trend and you need to get as big as possible. And you need to push as much weight as you possibly can and explode your muscles to elephantine proportions, because that's what women find hot, because you look dominant, you look powerful, and smash it, man. That's what you have to do. However, there is also another school of thought that says, actually, really, being leaner is better. And it's my observation, and this is backed up by studies in a study in the book, that men will usually overestimate the degree of physical size that they need in order to be seen as hot by women. Okay, so in the book, it recounts a study that was performed where the researchers looked at copies of Cosmopolitan, aimed at women, and then Men's Health, aimed at men. And they measured the body sizes of the models, the male models shown in those publications. They looked at the muscle mass and they calculated it, okay? And what they found was that the size of the male models shown in Men's Health were bigger than the size of the male models who appeared in Cosmopolitan, and their size roughly corresponded with what men and women surveyed separately think is an optimal aesthetic for a guy. Okay, so women who were spoken to and took part in the study separately basically said that guys who were lean, who were shredded, ripped, or whatever, but not huge, were more attractive. And guys thought that you had to be bigger in order to be regarded as attractive. And as I say, this was borne out in the models that we used in Men's Health and in Cosmopolitan. And that's really instructive, isn't it? That's really interesting, because what that's showing is you've got a publication that's aimed at women, and obviously has to cater for sort of women's fantasies, what women find hot, what women find attractive. And they're using more lean models. And in Men's Health, they're using more, guys with more mass, guys with more body weight, basically, because they know that that's what guys are impressed by. And so this comes back to, sometimes you see memes or jokes about this online where it's like, really, if you get super big, okay, actually, the main group that you're impressing is other men, which is kind of maybe not what you want, but you're actually impressing other dudes, because other dudes look at you like, hey, bro, what are you benching? And, what's your, how much protein are you eating? You're doing creatine, like they get into the minutiae. What's your exercise split? Are you juicing? Are you natty? Things like this. It impresses other guys, and other guys get kind of obsessed with it. But women actually, really, it seems across the board, tend to like the more lean, shredded, muscular, but not huge look. Okay, so there's a bit of a disconnect here in terms of what appears to be the case. Now, even in my own friendship group, or even in people that I know personally, there is this disagreement. So, for example, right now, I'm working with my trainer Max, who you've probably seen on some previous videos. We did some boxing training videos a few months ago. We're going to be doing some more of those kinds of things, so stay tuned. And he is a good-looking guy. He's in great shape, and he is very much, and he does pretty well with the ladies as well, by the way. And he is very much a proponent of being lean. He's very much a proponent of being shredded. I keep using all these slightly interchangeable terms, don't I? Because ripped might actually imply big. I always think of ripped as being, like, I always think of ripped and shredded as being synonymous, but some people seem to use ripped as meaning big. But anyway, he is very much a proponent of being shredded, and his view, and this is backed up by, he's done pretty well with some very attractive women, very attractive high society women in London and around Europe and in the States as well. His view is that actually the higher tier of women like guys who are leaner. They like guys who have obviously very low, a very low body fat percentage, who are muscular, but they're not huge. They're not sort of like, they don't have to turn sideways to get through the door. Okay. And it's this whole thing of like, do you look good in a suit? Do you look like, it's the GQ model look, isn't it? It's that kind of aesthetic, or it's almost like the, so recently I saw posters for Magic Mike on the London Underground. Okay. Posters for Magic Mike. Now, Magic Mike it's been running in the West End in London for a number of years. Obviously, it was the Channing Tatum movie, whatever. Running in the West End for a number of years. It's the kind of thing, basically, it's exclusively aimed at women. Okay. And it's the kind of thing where you just get, hen parties, parties, bachelorette parties going to, or, if a girl's broken up with her boyfriend, they take her there to cheer her up, or it's a girls' night out kind of a show. All right. And they've got posters up on the London Underground at the moment showing the dudes in this show. And I have to say, they actually rather back up this view, because they are muscular, absolutely, but they're not huge. They're muscular, they're incredibly toned, they've got abs, they've got great stomach muscle, whatever, but they're not huge. They're not like massive bodybuilders. They're not like massive roid head kind of dudes. Well, they probably are, but they're more slim, they're more svelte, they're more they just don't have as huge mass as some of the other dudes you see. They don't look like rugby players or something like that. So that would seem to back up the theory again, because Magic Mike is a show that is firmly aimed at women, and it needs to, in order to be commercially successful, it needs to tap into what women think is hot, what women think is sexually attractive. Okay, so there's that, but then on the other side of the argument, there are other people, and plenty of American people think this. I know, my American friends out there, maybe you want to correct me in the comments below, but there's plenty of other dudes who are like, no, bro, you've just got to get massive. And that it also seems to make sense, doesn't it? It seems to make sense, because it's kind of like, look, she wants to meet a guy who is physically stronger than her, physically bigger than her, and is also able to physically overpower other men. So wouldn't it therefore make sense that she's going to go for the biggest guy? She's going to go for the most physically imposing guy. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? And I know even James Tusk, my friend, I think he can watch this video and correct me in the comments, but I think he sort of veers a bit between the two, because he does acknowledge that leanness and being shredded is very important. But I think he has somewhat more of an emphasis on size. And certainly if you look at his physique, he's a big guy. He used to play rugby. So he's also got that size element as well. If I had to come down on one side over the other, I would probably come down on the being lean, being shredded side. Okay. Leanness, I think, is the important thing. And of course, people could then flame me, because they're going to say, well, yeah, but that's because probably you, somebody once flamed me on Twitter for this. And like, yeah, that's just because you can't get big Troy. That's why, and yeah, I think there probably is, in all of these judgments, there probably is some personal bias, because actually the guys in my own personal life, and you know, my own success in dating as well, but I've also observed many other dudes, you know, over the years interacting with women, and actually the dudes that I've seen who've been the most successful with the most attractive women, that is, with the women who are the most attractive, have tended to be the more lean kind of guys. They have tended not like super big, but just guys who are absolutely in shape, but you know, quite svelte, look good in a nice suit, look good in a nice jacket. Those do seem to be the guys who are getting the most the best response at a higher level with women. Now, of course, undoubtedly there are women out there who do like the bodybuilder look. There are women out there who like a bloke who's, you know, whose thighs are like the size of a tree trunk. There's undoubtedly there are women out there who like that. It could be argued, and this is a little bit more like Max's take on this, it could be argued that those women are of a, you know, a certain type. Maybe they're not quite as classy. I mean, I hate to say it. I don't know if this is, you know, this is all terribly prejudiced, but it could be argued that there's a sort of a certain type of woman, let's say, who likes the more muscle bound kind of hunk. But is she the super elite, you know, kind of European model, English aristocrat kind of woman? Maybe not. Okay, that might just be prejudice. Okay, and also bear in mind that obviously variations occur all over the scale, so you don't know for sure. But broadly speaking, I would submit to you that you probably think you need to be bigger than you actually do in order to have women looking at you and getting some action. I'm personally right now, because I'm working with Max, the focus is on leanness. Okay, and of course, we are doing resistance, you know, we're doing work with weights as well. We're doing resistance work. We're doing a lot more cardio. Okay. And as I say, the emphasis is very much on getting lean, getting ripped, look good, you know, on the beach when we go into, as we go into 2024, beach body ready, all of that kind of stuff. Look good in a pair of Speedos. That's kind of the aim as far as I'm concerned. And I keep saying to him, listen, but you know, it's important to have upper body, a bit of upper body mass as well. Now, the body that most regularly gets talked about when people are considering this issue of what women like tends to be Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Okay, so if you just Google Brad Pitt in Fight Club, you'll see a picture of him there, cigarette hanging out of his mouth, shirtless. Okay, that body type tends to be what a lot of guys will sort of aspire to. And also, it appears that a lot of women like. And if you look at that picture, he's not huge. Again, I mean, he's definitely got muscle mass. He's definitely got mass in the shoulders and the chest. Stomach is obviously toned, obliques, all that kind of shit, but pretty lean. Okay, to me, that seems to be the ideal. That for me, I think, would be my North Star in terms of what I would like to achieve. And I believe that would be the most attractive to the most women. Now, obviously, you're never going to appeal to every woman anyway, because there is some woman out there, and she's like, well, you know, if he's not 20 stone, you know, I'm not going anywhere near him. I mean, obviously, you're going to get variations, but I think if we're looking at it just across the board, and remember as well, I mean, for me, I'm somebody, I like to wear suits, I like to look quite sophisticated, all that kind of thing. Like, I don't really want to look like a sort of, you know, I don't really want to look like a, you know, like too much, because I just think it doesn't look very cool. Okay. So that's my thinking on this. I would veer towards the lean side myself, but I do appreciate that other people have different points of view on this. And maybe the dating market is somewhat different in the US anyway. I don't know. I mean, in the US, obviously, I think guys are kind of just physically bigger in the US. And there is perhaps more of an emphasis on size. I don't know. But again, the US is a big place. You've got lots of different communities there, lots of different cities and states. So it's really hard. But I think overall, I think leanness is key. And the most important thing I would say is what it does to your face as well. I mean, you've got the body, fine. But what about the face? You know, you want to have leanness in the face, because every dude can look better if he's leaner in the face. Okay? People talk about looks maxing. Well, the best way really for most dudes to looks max is to lose body fat percentage, make their face leaner, and you're going to look better. Okay? So, and that's a key thing as well, because putting aside, do I need to get huge muscles? The other side of this is, am I overweight, or is my is my body fat too high? And really, you want to be, before worrying about any of the other stuff, you want to be reducing the body fat. Okay. In order to be successful in dating, in order to be admired by women. Now, I suppose ideally you want to be doing a bit of both. You want to be getting shredded, but you also want to be getting some mass as well. But there are obviously competing strategies for doing those things. So then you have to, make a decision, work with a trainer or whatever. But anyway, with all of that being said, little meditation on body types there. If you've got thoughts on this, please put them in the comments below. I'm sure people will, because it's one of those issues that guys get very hung up about. So put the comments in the below. Do hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give me a like. You can get on my free email list. The link is below. You can make a free call with me to discuss coaching options. Free 15-minute call. We'll discuss coaching options. The link is below. And you can grab my collection of 11 books, Renegade Dating Blueprint. Again, the link is below. I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.